Feel like let's get this rascal going. How y'all doing today? I can't read the comments yet because I'm sharing a live up. You feel me? Yeah. Doing my little thing. Get my little share out. Yeah. But how y'all doing this evening? We just getting started. We're just having a lovely little time. We're gonna have us a little conversation about this background, of course. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have us a discussion. We're gonna have us a conversation. We're gonna get these likes up. Racism extremely complicated. Oh yeah. And I never realized just how deep it was, to be honest with you. I just didn't realize at the time how much it affected our entire lives, and anybody that doesn't want to see it now, currently in 2024, it's like your eyes aren't even open. Yeah. %. But we're gonna have us a conversation about it. We're gonna get the likes up. We're gonna get some people up in here, or we might not, and then we'll have a good day. Oh, I appreciate it. Send the heart, send the love, all that type of stuff. We like that 100%. If you want to subscribe, then by all means. I need to make some more sub-only content. I really talk about health and fitness on my sub-only space, right? So I'm really discussing things about like health and nutrition and trying to go into detail about how to work out, what things to work out, stuff like that, how we can continue to maintain a healthy relationship with ourselves and still operate within inside of this oppressive system that is society. Am I progressive? Yeah, I'm very progressive. Super duper progressive, in my opinion, And I try not to get hung up in the semantics of like what the word means and stuff. Appreciate it of what the words and such mean of being progressive, as much as like making sure that we are not upholding systems of oppression. Thank you, Chris. More than, labeling yourself to be one thing or the other thing, right? Because you can be Democrat and racist, and you can be Republican and racist. Like you can be both, so it doesn't really matter what label you put on yourself if you're being overt or covertly racist. But anyway, I added 2 people to the panel. Do y'all want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alora. I'm 19.
Got you. Could I ask you your pronouns and race?
She, her, and I'm white.
Gotcha. And then Melly, right? Are you there?
Oh, I just saw your 21 plus thing. Do you want me to drop?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. Like I said, right now we don't have too terribly much traffic. But if you want to stay up to start a conversation, you know what I'm saying. I really I like to put that up there to make sure that we're having adult conversations, right? And
Yes,
if you're here on good faith, then by all means, we can have the conversation, right? But but you'll have it from the viewpoint of 19 and not 35 or arguing in bad faith, right?
Yes, sir.
Got you. I
But if
mean,
at any point you want me to drop, just let me know and I respect the rules and I'll drop whenever.
oh, thank you, thank you. What's up, water waffin?
Yeah, hi. I just want to say I hate niggers. White power, Heil Hitler.
And you're ignorant and you should be embarrassed of yourself.
100%. Good lord. Good lord. So it's things like that that we know that there's still like so much oppression in society when someone thinks that that is acceptable. When someone thinks that that's an acceptable way to act to complete strangers,
Who have
we
literally
know.
done nothing.
Yeah, who you don't know them from a house cat, right? What's up, Christy?
Hey, how's it going? I just stumbled on this. First off, really sorry about that prior guy. That was awful. Um, but I'm very, how do you say, encouraged to see more males speaking out about anti-racism. So thanks for having me on here.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate it. I do want to take the I appreciate it. I do want to take the opportunity to try to explain the background a little bit because when it says white people need to deconstruct racism to help themselves, it almost seems like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the way that I look at that is all of society has a level of oppression unless you're the top of the top of the top. And to be honest with you, I still think that those people are, and I'm not those people, so I don't know, but I think that they have some type of oppression because they're not living maybe a genuine life or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have like true meaningful connections because they're so far separated from reality. But operating with inside what we have as a society, um, the oppression still exists. It's just a lot less than, right? But if we as white people can see the problems that the system puts on ourselves and try to say, okay, it's bad for me, it's worse for this person over here. I need to try to fight this system that's oppressing all of us to different degrees because we're complaining about something, or people are complaining about something, and it's literally what they're voting against. They're complaining about they're supporting big government, but they're not supporting immigration to the United States when big government, big military spending goes to other countries to oppress people. So those people want to leave that country and come to the United States. It's like stop oppressing, so stop supporting big military.
Right. You bring up an interesting point about basically, if I'm understanding you correctly, is uniting within your own community and reaching uh a version of reaching across the aisle. Like we are pretty much all a part of the same working class, same labor force. Like we have a lot more in common than people realize. And it's something that as a Latina woman, the the election results and seeing how the Latino vote went for Donald Trump, that did not surprise me personally. So I think it's important it takes us advocating within our own communities and trying to um, bring awareness because they're not going to listen to other people necessarily. It takes,
Mhm.
yourself, you calling that behavior out within your own group of people that you see every day, you talk to every day, you see them at church, your own family, things like that. And it's almost like I kind of compare it to gentle parenting a little
Mhm.
bit. Because if you're, and obviously we've all felt just a lot of anger if we, following the election, but um, it's not gonna bring anyone together. That's something I'm personally struggling with too. It's like, I don't want to be around people that have this mentality of like oppressing others for their own gain when if we all united, we would be stronger. As a society, we do have so much more in common than most people realize. Um,
A
yeah.
hundred percent, 100%, and that's the people that make a couple $100,000 a year, and that's the people that don't have a home right now. right?
Yes, it's a wide, like, somebody that's making a six-figure plus salary, they're oppressed too. Like, they're part of the labor force. Like their salary compared to, our oligarchs is just a fraction of a percentage. You know what I mean? Um, so we're not that far removed from people that are experiencing that are unhoused from pretty much all parts of society. We're not that
Correct.
far removed.
Right. Not far at all. At all. I did add a couple of people, but I do want HD. Could
Yeah,
I get your age, race, and pronouns?
I'm white. I'm 19, and I'm a guy.
Okay, a
Actually,
guy
I'm
is a
sorry.
noun. I would prefer you, I would like to ask you your pronouns.
He, him. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry.
And then explaining, could you do the same thing?
So if men don't know how to lead, women know how to
I'll
lead.
let you
Is that
go.
what you say?
But wait, was that explaining?
I'm 25. I'm white. My pronouns are she, her.
Got you. Got you. I saw that in your bio too. I appreciate that. But HD, did you have a problem with the background?
I thought you meant explain. Yeah. So if men don't know how to lead, you think that women are the leaders in society?
I think
That's a
that you're,
pretty. I mean, making
I
that
think that
statement,
you,
right?
well, no, because I don't think that there's any one person that's better than any other person, and you're trying to
So
rank
is there
people.
leaders?
No, there doesn't have to be a leader. There's only a leader when there's oppression going on. Really, you know what I'm saying?
Humans naturally look for a leader. It's their tendency. It's our
Who
tendency.
looks for leaders?
Humans, our species look for leaders. That's why we have a president. That's why we
No,
have kings.
we,
No
we
history.
have,
Do you
And
look for a
queens.
leader when you go to the bathroom?
What? That's irrelevant.
There are some times when you need a leader and sometimes when you don't. I think we have misconstrued when we do need a leader and when we don't.
So he
Miners
should
sometimes
say
need a foreman.
in the
Um,
title, he should say we don't need
orchestras
leaders.
need maestros. Maybe we don't need presidents.
Okay. So we don't need the term leader. Would that be a better statement instead of men don't know how to lead? Because then that would say that women know how to lead, right? That would put women up to lead.
you kind
Or
of
is
got
there
two
another
points.
sex that leads?
I
No,
think that's just how
I
you
don't.
perceived the statement.
exactly.
No, I think you're not understanding what I'm saying.
No. So what
So
you're
if men
you're
don't know how
trying
to
to do,
lead,
what you're trying to do is you're trying to uphold an oppressive role in society, and we don't need that oppressive role. And I like that you used kings.
so leading is oppressive.
I like that you used kings. Yes, leading can be very much oppressive. That's the easiest way. When you have power over people, it's very easy to manipulate and it's very easy to
Why
maneuver
do
and
you
it's
think
very easy
religion
to oppress.
exists?
For oppressing. Of course, that's exactly
No.
why.
Well, okay, yes.
Why do you think religion exists?
True. But it's
HD, why do
just
you
an
think?
innate desire for women and men to look for a leader. It's just
No,
in us.
No, it's not.
Inner-
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I've never woke up one
That's
time
why
and
we
said, you know
still
what I'm
have
gonna do?
religions.
I'm gonna go
I think what we seek is community,
Yeah.
not leadership. I think we seek community.
Every,
Not leadership. I think we seek community.
every community always goes back to having a leader. Always.
Not
There's always
necessarily. There are
somebody in
lots of
power. That's how
communes and communities of people with no leaders.
I just think it's a bad statement. I'm sorry.
No. You think it's a bad statement and you can't articulate your point past that. Now, I would like for you to try
I
to
think men
understand.
are the
You
leaders,
you said in
obviously.
the comments, HD, that you thought that I was looking for a woman's validation. That's what you said
Yeah,
in
a
the
little
comments,
bit. That's what I'm getting
very
from it. A little
silly,
bit.
which is very silly in itself. Do you understand what deconstruction is, and do you understand what community is?
Deconstruction. Yes, I do.
Okay, could you define that in your own terms? I'm not asking for a Webster's dictionary definition.
To break it down
To break
in
what down?
layman's terms. Break stuff down. That's what deconstruct means.
Yeah. In this context, what does deconstruction mean? What are you breaking down?
I'm more focused on men don't know how to lead, because I mean, you're a man yourself and you don't think you have what it takes to lead. I feel like that's kind of, you know, a little bit, that's not bad.
He doesn't want to be a leader because he has no desire to be an oppressive person.
No, being a leader is good.
Don't send me.
I think you're misconstruing the
Why
statement.
we've succeeded as a species is because we've had leaders. You have to think of it that way, though.
No. So your problem is you are okay with an oppressive system, and that's what you're missing. And that's why I asked you what deconstruction is, because you're okay. You're using oppressive systems as the explanation of why we need oppressive systems. You're saying we need leaders. Leaders are kings and presidents. Kings and presidents are oppressive, and that's okay. And you're missing that entire point, and that's why I asked you what deconstruction was, because you obviously aren't on that path.
You're defining being a leader as being somebody who's bad or manipulative, pretty much.
Tell me a leader that hasn't done bad things and hasn't caused harm to many people.
Well, I'm sure that's happened throughout history.
No, tell me one leader. One leader. One king, one president that didn't do some very harmful stuff to a group of people.
John F. Kennedy was a pretty good guy.
John F. Kennedy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
I liked him. Tell
me
I
one.
haven't heard much bad things about John F. Kennedy.
The what?
I haven't heard
one
many
thing
bad
that he
things
did.
about him. I don't know. I liked him. I just liked whenever I heard him talk, or whenever I've seen him talk.
What?
We weren't alive for him.
You're just putting me on the spot right now. Come on.
I know. That's
You're
exactly
focusing on the context of words right now, not on meaning. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I just think that women like to demasculate men a lot too, you know? And we gotta just be strong both ways, you know? There should be strong women, there should be strong men.
So you
It
think
should
that-
work in harmony.
You think that men are natural leaders?
Yeah, obviously.
So why do you
Yeah.
think that if men are natural leaders, why do you think that women can demasculate them? How can someone that's not a leader demasculate a real leader?
Well, women obviously control aspects of men, but also society. I mean, you know what I mean?
So
Here's
with
a
what
question.
you just
It's
said, that
deeper
would
than
kind
just-
of mean that you think that we're the leaders. If
Huh?
we control you, then that would mean that we have leadership over
When
y'all.
you contribute to society, I wouldn't say control. That's not good.
Here's a
We
question I
both
have for you.
contribute to society. It's just different roles, you know?
Here's my question. Do you think there's a positive and healthy form of masculinity that doesn't require you to control someone else?
Yes, totally. Come on. We should know
Okay,
this.
that's a good start.
Yeah.
So men can not be leaders and still be completely fine men.
Yeah, sure. You can't, not everybody can be a leader. Not
Does
everybody.
a man have to be a leader in order to be a man?
No, but I mean, well, he should have leading qualities, like not necessarily leading other men or whatever, but his own family or like people that he loves, yeah. But I don't know.
If a guy takes orders
He
from his
doesn't
wife,
have
is
to,
he
like,
not a guy?
completely fit the term of being a leader, but I think he should exhibit some qualities, yeah.
HD,
If
I
a
think
man-
that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, if a guy's really bad with money, and if he needs to take advice from his wife, you know, like, don't spend this much on video games, don't go eating out this much. If he has to take this kind of advice, if his wife is in control of his finances,
Mm-hmm.
even if, you know, he's a lumberjack, he's buff, he's got the beard, all that kind of stuff, is he less of a
Yeah.
man for that?
No, for finances or no, I don't.
For finances
asking
was
for
an
help.
example. Like, is a man less of a man if he's not in control?
If he needs help, no, but if he could do it without, you know,
I
help, maybe. I don't
think
know.
it's okay to accept help.
Yeah, totally. Why not?
Okay, so HD, I also have a question for you.
Okay.
So you use he, him, so you would say you're a man.
Yeah.
And you said that men should have leading qualities.
Yes.
So what makes you a leader? Like, what do you think personally makes you a leader?
I don't know. Good question. I control my life. I'm just responsible, I think, organized.
Now,
So
how
these are
would
just
you
adult qualities. These aren't like leader qualities, in my opinion.
Uh, I
Yeah,
take
I
control of
think
my life, I guess. Not a lot of people lead themselves, you know.
yeah, I think
I
I
don't
think
really have a
that
wife or kids or anything, so
I wonder, HD, if you're confusing. You stated at the beginning that women are emasculating men, and I wonder if you're confusing what I know. I personally discuss a lot about my own personal lived experiences and things that I've experienced firsthand from men. Um, and I wonder if you're confusing that with us just emasculating men in general. And what does emasculating mean to you?
um well, I guess I'm just kind of saying it from like what I see on TikTok. I see a lot of like stuff like that, you know, like this exactly. And it's
how
just
is
I
this
don't know.
I
emasculating?
think that's a way for you also. It could be a learning opportunity for you to
Okay.
see, like, for instance, I'm in my 30s, I'm divorced, I've experienced a lot. Um,
Yeah.
to see what we have gone through and maybe take that as an opportunity to think, okay, I wouldn't want to make a female feel like that, or I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to make a future partner feel like that. And rather than see it from like, uh, feel defensive about it.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
you know what I mean?
I do. I know what you mean, but with the statement like men don't know how to lead, it's more of like that's kind of spreading false information because from what I know, you know, men do know how to lead, you know?
Well, I
And men
think
can do it.
There you go.
It's
There you
more
go.
of like fighting
HD.
a negative with a negative, you know, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
When we come
That's
I
what you
think
together.
do. You're
I
fighting
will
a negative
personally
with a
state.
negative.
Go ahead.
Well,
Uh,
just men don't know how to lead because men lead with oppression, and that's what you're skipping out on. Men lead a
Okay.
relationship with oppression.
Okay. I can see that. That fits
so.
more of
I think when you see women, you're seeing this election. I feel like brought out so much from women and us fighting for our reproductive rights and a lot of, discussion and open talks about things that we've experienced in life and from other oppression from men. Um, and I don't know if I'm assuming our host with that statement saying men don't know how to lead. I feel like there's collectively amongst men right now, it's just they are, you know, up at like, instead of taking it as a learning opportunity of like how to come together, how to be better partners, um it's a defensive, like, oh, and we're just going to dig our heels in and you better just give in to what we've always done, whereas
yeah.
we're trying to create and effectuate change for, our future and the future of our children, especially our daughters.
Yeah. And that's a good mindset, just looking, you know, for the future. But I just have to say we have to come together, you know. It can't just be one side that's wrong or one side that's right. It's not.
That's a lie.
You don't think so?
Yeah, because what you're doing here is you're still trying to stand on business and say that men are being demasculated and stuff like that. You're trying to push this
Oh,
oppression narrative of, oh, women just need to do their part in this and we'll all be okay. Men need to step the fuck up and understand that we are upholding the system of oppression,
yeah.
especially white men. Especially white men. It's not both sides. It's not.
Yeah.
Don't ride that fence. Okay. There's a
Okay.
direct reflection. The 4B movement is a direct reflection of men oppressing women. Okay.
Yeah.
when you Pride Month is a direct reflection of LGBTQIA plus community members being unalived in the streets. Their places of community being a battling ground for police to go inside and police brutality to happen and all types of violence to happen. That's how we ended up with Pride Month.
And
It's-
they experienced a lot of arsonists too.
Mhm, mhm.
That all of that is a response to oppression. Women's
It's
marches.
just not. It's just not something I can, attribute to masculinity, though. Like
I know that you
It's
can't
just-
because you're benefiting from the privilege of it, but you've got to understand. You've got to understand that it's the same. It's the same way. Here's a good example of you in real time. I'm actively trying to do this work. I'm actively trying to deconstruct. You see
Right.
me and you say, you need woman validation. You need this. You're up here trying to have a conversation because there was only 2 women on the panel at the time. So you
Yeah.
think that I'm doing it here to be in proximity to women
Yeah.
when that's further from the truth. If I wanted to be in proximity to women, I would shut my phone down and I would be in places where women are at. But you see it as an opportunity to be close to women for oppression purposes. So you're seeing yourself in my position and saying what you would do in that position. That's why you can't see the issues that we're calling out now.
Well,
The
I'm
reason
looking
why-
more of
why we
it
have-
like how do we fix this? What do we do instead
we
of sitting
stand
around
up.
and like acknowledging that there's a barrier, because we could do this
It
for
is-
another 100 years and nothing will happen.
It is more than that.
No, well,
Like-
it's upholding the system. That's what it is. You're upholding the system. You're making sure that you aren't being part of the problem. You don't
We
have to.
can't
You don't
say-
have to, you don't have to run
Yeah.
lives. You don't have to make content. You don't have to go march in the street. You just have to make sure that you're not being creepy to other people.
Right.
You have to make sure that you're not
True.
Yeah.
sticking your nose up at when 2 men are kissing on the street.
Nah, yeah.
Like, to throw my hat in the ring,
Mhm.
like, I want to bring something forward.
Okay.
A woman gives birth. A woman gives birth. She's under sedation, and the doctor pulls the husband over aside, and he says, "Listen, I can put in a few stitches into your wife's hoo-ha because sometimes it gets a little loose, and for a man to enjoy it, he can do a little tight." In some states, in a lot of places, that is legal. It's acceptable. You can do that without your wife's consent. And some people will defend that by saying, in a sense, boys will be boys. Like, it's a man's right to, consume his marriage. It's a man's right to do this kind of stuff. And masculinity has been deeply tied with this sort of oppression, with this stepping down on women, on non-binary people. And I think those two can be separated. I think you can pull away masculinity from oppression, and that will be hard. But it's possible. You do not have to have your masculinity removed to remove your own oppression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you can be masculine all you want to be and not uphold the patriarchy. But the patriarchy runs very deep. I got a new debit card today. I was at the bank and they asked me what my mother's maiden name was for my security question. Why is it such a mystery of what my mother's lived experience was? Why did she have to distance herself from, oh, he left. Why did she have to distance herself from another family and become part of? Why did she have to submit to the patriarchy to be married, right? Like, that's a wild, why is that a question? Why is that even a question, right? But anyway,
Yeah.
what's
Right. And not only that, it's then to leave the marriage. The hoops and the legal process you have to jump through. Why is that so difficult? Why does that, in some states, they make you stay married and separated for over a year before they'll grant you a divorce? So
get me started
that's a
on the
whole nother
financial
topic
aspect.
too.
right? We did add Jeff, or somebody added Jeff. What's Jeff? Could I get your race, age, pronouns, please?
Sure. I'm white, 57, he, him.
Got you. Are you Jeff from Kentucky?
Yes, sir.
We spoke before.
Yeah, you brought me up. It's been a couple of months ago.
I'm trying. You were on benefits for a while. You got injured, and
Yeah,
you got back to
yeah, yeah.
100%.
Spinal cord
Back to
injury.
work, or some you didn't get to 100%, but you got back in the workforce and stuff. Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah, I was. They gave me 100%, but
but you ain't
I
never.
gave it up.
You ain't never. Yeah, you got 100% disability, but you got back enough to be able to get back into the workforce. Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Right. Right. So okay. What's your topic? What's your take on this? Either the topic that we've been discussing, or tying it directly back to the background.
Well, someone had mentioned that, or you had said something about men lead by oppression or with oppression, and I made the comment that not all men do that. Do some? Absolutely. Without a doubt.
It's
But
the way I see it.
I look at leadership as um, a good leader is somebody that they're not in it for themselves; they're in it for the others that they're leading. It's for more their benefit than it is the ones they're leading's benefit than themselves.
Right. So, but to use that context, how many percentage of people that are in leadership positions do you think take that mindset 100%, and they don't hold any oppression at all, and they make sure that everyone else eats before they do in every scenario?
Oh, I think the percentage would be very small.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that there's not a needle in a haystack, right? Because I try to be that person, right? Because I'm a superintendent at work, right? So I manage large crews and all types of stuff, right? But I'm an active agent in this, right? So I have to make sure that I'm not oppressing people, and I'm still learning. But I've been on this deconstruction journey as far as leadership goes for 10 years, and I'm still not where I want to be. So that being the case, I don't even put myself into that category, and I've been actively working on it for years, right? So just the random fella, the random man that hasn't either done any deconstruction work, and most of the time has not even been in any leadership positions, and hasn't even read a leadership book or went to nothing. I know they're not doing that, right?
I was going to approach this from a slightly different position,
Okay.
with an analogy. Let's say you live in a somewhat weird town. You have a unique problem in that there's a construction company that lives around, and they're hooligans. They're given these work pickup trucks. They have access to sledgehammers and jackhammers, and they use this to knock down mailboxes, to burn around potholes. And it's a real problem. And at some point, you start to say, we need to address this absolute hooliganism we're seeing in construction workers. These construction workers are acting inappropriately and getting out of hand. And one of them steps up, says, "Well, I'm a construction worker. And I've never smashed someone's mailbox with a sledgehammer." And that's not what they were saying. They're saying there is a significant problem in the way these construction workers were, in the way that they're trained and treated, in the culture, in the group around them that allows them to allow this hooliganism, in the tools that they're given. When they say, I believe the statement, "men don't know how to lead" here is more so that, like, when a man is in a leadership position, he's given a lot of tools to do some nasty things and a lot of oversight to allow those kinds of, nasty behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
what I was
agree
gonna
with
say.
that. I agree they are given the tools. Uh, I think their character shows when they don't use those tools.
Yeah, it is definitely more difficult to do the right thing, and it is definitely very easy to do the wrong thing, and that should be addressed. It should be harder for a manager to grow up his secretary's ass. It should be very, very difficult to do all these sorts of small things, but it's not. It's not, because there's a group of people who think that this is okay, and they want you to think it's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with, and you can apply that to any marginalized group of people. You can apply that to LGBTQIA plus. You can apply that to BIPOC community people. You can apply that to Black people. Like we want to deem it to be necessary or okay. You know, we want to make these scenarios to where it's okay to do. It's socially acceptable to oppress these
Like,
people, and that's the system that we need to work on. That's the system that's harder.
yeah, for a somewhat pigeonholed example, uh, among video gamers, there is a massive problem with misogyny, and there is a unique one in that a lot of male gamers feel this sort of special privilege or belief that they have the right to decide women's bodies, specifically with their appearance. They'll post these nasty photos attempting to, pretty up characters, to redo them, to unwoke them. You'll see a lot of these nasty mods making, their asses bigger, making their clothes disappear, all this kind of stuff. And that is a problem very, very, very unique to that specific pigeonhole of gamers. And it can be fixed. It is not this isn't something you see in people who like, House. This isn't something you see in like movie buffs or like, this is something unique. This is something that can be addressed. It is not innate to being a man. It's not innate to being a gamer. And we can recognize that and fix that. There are a lot of these tiny, weird, gross behaviors that can be fixed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like people want to call people out for behavior, but if they just looked at their own behavior and deconstruct those types of things, like you'll hear those same types of men complaining about not having access to women. Women don't want to do this. Women don't want to do that. When in reality, men being oppressive have held women away. Being oppressive have held women away from being in game scenario situations, being out in open public spaces, women being able to have their interest and fulfill them correctly. And the same thing with any other marginalized group, right? Whether it be going places by themselves, whether it be having conversations openly and honestly, because they don't know how much oppression they're going to get, right? They might get some nasty words, they might get some slurs, they might get some physical abuse, they might get some unaliving. They don't know. It's like a roulette wheel. They just don't know at what point does the oppression stop? At what point does the misogyny or the racism stop? And it's a crapshoot. So we've got to deconstruct that. Whatever part of the intersectionality that you're on, we've got to deconstruct that.
And I think, even myself, I try to actively listen to other groups of people, other marginalized groups too, even though I'm a Latino woman, because I was raised in a fundamentalist church. So I've had a lot of oppressive views. I've seen a lot of, infighting and racism too. So I think everyone can benefit from deconstructing. It's not just men or one specific demographic of people, but I think the problem lies when people get defensive when it's brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree with that. Being disabled, so there's automatically stereotyped that I can't do what an able-bodied person, so to speak. That's, for lack of a better term, what they can do. However, I can do the same things. I just have to go about it a different way, or it may take me a little longer to do that, but I get it done. So I don't know if it's just a pride in me that I have so many people say, I could go and I could get back on disability tomorrow. with my physical condition. There's so many people that are on the system now that not even remotely close to me. I've got family members that are, so that's a really touchy subject with me. However, so I can understand. It used to frustrate me when people thought they had to do things for me or would just kind of step in and get out of the way, like but I take it now as they don't understand. They don't know because they've not walked in my shoes.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I try to look at other groups as well. And I've not been in their shoes, so I'm not going to tell them how they feel. And they're it's okay. And this is what frustrates me the most is I may not agree with what someone else does, or they might not agree with some things that I do. That doesn't mean we have to hate each other or be at each other's throat. And I see so much of that these days, and from both sides. I won't say it's heavier on one side or the other, and that is one of the things that really has disappointed me with our country. We're so divided, and
Well,
we,
that's
go
because
ahead. I'm sorry.
well the reason why the divide is there, and I didn't understand this until maybe 8 years ago or so, or something like that. The reason why we're so divided is because there's a group of people that don't get to interact with the world as full human beings. And there's a group that's holding up, both groups are upholding the oppression to some degree, right? But one of them is active agents and one of them is like passive agents in it, right? And so like the difference in between the ways to fix the economy, or what kind of tax structure we're going to have, different things like that, like that's all, we'll have that conversation. But when you're actively passing laws that continue to marginalize groups of people, then that's an issue, right? So like that's the divide. And so the people that are it's the fragility of the system of oppression, right? Because the group that's doing the oppression thinks that they're losing something by equality, and the group that's being oppressed is tired of the oppression. So that being the case, you see what I'm saying? Like it's not a one for one, or we're not discussing how to fix something, or we're not talking about strategies on sports. We're talking about human rights, and so until we get to that point, there's really no discussion to be had, right?
Yeah, you said it really
Go ahead.
perfectly. That like I am tired. I'm exhausted of just seeing this oppression, like these laws being passed. I had living in Georgia, I have had a lot of conservative friends. You just can't avoid it. And I was raised in a conservative Latino group too. It's been hard for me to accept certain people in my life that have, after all these years of knowing me and who I am and where I come from, have supported this far right movement, and not only supported it, but have repeated and reposted the hateful rhetoric. And I've tried to reach them in a gentle way. I had to cut a few off. I'm like, it's been years and I've tried to, prove to you, like, I'm Hispanic, trying to prove to you my work ethic and show you my culture, invite you to my home, introduce you to my family, show you the things, speak on my own experiences with prejudice. And, you claim to love me as a friend and I'm always there for you. But then you go and vote against my rights. And not only do you do that, you just continue to spread hatefulness and misinformation. And but yet you expect me to let that all go and continue a friendship with you. So I've had to really, sadly, following this election, I had to really face the fact that a few of these people that I had in my life, they were never going to see my point of view because they don't identify with me because they were white. They don't see what I've tried to show them. And I think it would take, someone from their own community, from their own family to actually teach them. I'm not sure what that would take, but I became tired of trying. So
Yeah, I
and it was
understand what you mean.
heartbreaking to me. So I cut that certain group of people out.
Yeah. I was just going to add, I completely respect that. That's completely fair. I think a lot of people, it's definitely a kind of rhetoric. A lot of people want to tell you that you can convince them not to be an asshole. You can convince them to do otherwise. And that's not how it works. Sometimes what it takes for someone to stop being an asshole is to no longer be allowed to be one, not to be gently coaxed out of it. And Jeff, to respond to your comments about seeing fights everywhere and wanting peace, I definitely understand. I was going to rebut with Reverend Martin Luther King at one point said something along the lines of, the white moderate will prefer a absence of violence, a negative absence of violence over a positive fight for freedom. There are a lot of fights, but there are a lot of good fights. Black civil rights were fought for. There were, like, the civil rights, protests were, if I remember correctly, around 3 times more violent than the Black Lives Matter protests. The women's right to vote, that was not easy, that was not pretty. Do not get me started on slavery. A lot of people, sometimes, there are problems that you simply can't talk people out of, and they want to convince you they can because it's very easy to shut your ears and not listen. But a lot of people are doing those kinds of good fights. I think it's completely reasonable. I think it's 100% acceptable to not want to see violence. It's natural. It's human. But I think there are some good fights out there.
Yeah,
I think yeah, I think there is. I think it's worthwhile to see the fights around you and see which ones are worth fighting for and listening into.
I will agree. I mean, I don't think we're going to live in a world of utopia where everybody's happy
Absolutely.
and there's no disagreements or what have you. But I see it on some of the lives here. I mean, they're downright nasty. And I've been in the motorcycle world for the better part of 35 years, and I've been to some places I've seen pretty nasty and hateful stuff. And some of this stuff is like, it just blows my mind. And I know getting older, I probably soften up a little bit as well. I don't like being judged by my physical appearance or my physical abilities. I'm almost on a daily basis, and people think they're doing it in a joking manner, what have you, being called crippled or gimp or what have you. I could sit there and argue with them till the end of the day or till the end of time. But I don't do that. I brush people off and go on about my business. I cannot let simple-minded people dictate my mood, dictate how I'm going to treat other people. I try to approach everybody with an open mind. Somebody may live a way or do things that I don't necessarily agree with. If it's not affecting me, I don't need to tell them how to live their lives.
I
You
think
know,
Can I say
it's
something quickly? I don't want to forget my train of thought, Jeff.
sure.
Yeah, I want to respond to. Did you want to say something, host?
Yeah, could I get your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Oh, yes. So I am 22 and I am African and she. Yep,
You
I
but
think I'm saying it right.
Africans. Well,
Yep,
but
I'm from West Africa.
okay. So you're a black person though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Jeff, you touched on something important about how you can't dictate how people live their lives, but isn't it important as human beings to show people knowledge or to to make an impact? Because yes, you're right. You cannot inf- you can influence them, but you can't tell them how to live their lives. But a lot of people aren't aware of information and they're not educated, so they don't have access to bettering themselves, you know?
Absolutely. And I don't, I agree with that 100%. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think you nailed it with the education. I think there's just so many people that have either had, quote unquote, their opinion in them from the way that they were raised, from, you know, either from the parents or the families or the areas they are from, and they just don't know. I'm from Kentucky, so I'm not automatically going to be labeled,
Hey, is this the
That's
anti-racist
but I've
funny
been
because
fortunate
Is
to.
this the anti-racist meeting?
I was just saying.
Yeah, I will.
Do I?
Uh,
but yeah,
But I've been
you're
fortunate enough to
yeah, you're
travel around
so
it and interact with so many different people. I don't fall in the stereotypical backwoods Kentuckian, you know.
and that's what we all need. Like, and it's so sad how a lot of
Yeah,
Americans.
yeah.
okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna address Terrence right quick. Terrence, can I get your age, race, and pronouns?
I am 22. I am white, and my pronouns are he, him.
Is it? Are
What?
you Big Leo?
Am I white?
Are you Big Leo?
Who the fuck is Big Leo? Wait, who's Big Leo? Do you guys know who Big Leo is?
Okay, thank you. But yeah, I just want to say, like, Americans don't realize how privileged they are to have so much access to education. Like it's missing so much in the other parts of the world, especially where I'm from. Like, my mom is from West Africa and my dad is from North Africa. And I've gotten a chance to travel and come to the States and be educated and learn about the world and learn about myself, my history, and but I think that instead of saying you can't dictate how someone lives their life, it's important to realize that they don't know, they're not aware, and that's how we're going to help them, and that's how we will add value to the world, you know.
I will need to be leaving right now. Before I go, do you mind if I completely derail the conversation with something non-political?
Real quick. Well, I mean, I guess if you're finna go, yeah, let's voice it out. Yeah, what's up?
Would you rather get $500 a month in direct deposit or $5,000 a month in loose change?
Oh, I mean, I'll take the loose change.
You gonna sort through it, bring it to Coinstar?
Yeah. So okay. So look, this is an interesting topic because this is something that I want the panel and everyone here to understand. I think and I've not figured out a way to do this correctly on content yet, like making a regular video, but we as a society have offset the way that we live life with efficiency. You see, there's $4,500 difference in between the 500 and 5,000, but because you have to take extra steps of taking it somewhere, you're going to miss out on that opportunity, right? So we would rather have our groceries delivered for double the money or have someone already prepare our food for triple the money or get it sent in frozen boxes for a whole bunch of money with all the instructions
Yeah.
already pretty, when
Yeah,
that's
you
living
could
life,
definitely go
you
ahead.
know? Well, that's just living life. Like, we pay people to do all of our stuff. We outsource raising our children, right? We outsource daycare and all this type of stuff to make more money, And it's like, at the end of the day, what are you making this money for? If you're like, I'll waste time doing something that I value, even though I know that there's a better, more efficient way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's all. So, but anyway, did that answer your question? I'll take the $5,000.
Yeah, that is completely fair. It's completely reasonable to say, in another way, you are getting $500 and you are being paid $4,500 to roll up pennies and nickels and quarters and
Yeah.
dollar bills and bring that out.
And then look, I don't need $5,000 a month, so I could technically take it places and hang out with, like, and I know that this might not, but like my niece and nephew that are 10 and 12 years old, I give them $200, $300, $400 each to help me roll change and play cards, and we've made a great time out of it, right? Like, my daughter,
I was just thinking that
Yeah.
you
My
could
daughter
pay
helps me
you
cut
could give
grass.
somebody a little cut of it to help you roll it
Yeah.
up and take it to the bank.
Right. Like, my daughter helps me cut grass, and when she helps me cut grass, we make money, and she gets to spend. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we're gonna cut the grass no matter what, right? But then we've got this money to be able to go hang out, and do whatever she always be taking the money. That's for sure.
That's so
But anyway,
sweet. Is that something that she wanted to do, or did you recommend it, like, for her to help you cut grass?
she likes doing certain things at certain times. You know what I mean? Sometimes she likes to do. So she always likes tearing the lawnmower up. She loves that. That's a favorite pastime of hers.
That's
So,
amazing that you're teaching her how to cut grass. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, was that derailed enough?
Yeah, that was.
Lawnmower.
I was honestly expecting you just to hit me with the loose change. Okay, back on topic.
Oh yeah.
But all right,
Well,
see ya.
appreciate it explaining. There's always explaining. There's always something. There's always, if you look a little bit deeper and a little bit longer and a little bit harder, you'll find like more reasoning behind different things. And I think that that's true on a lot of different things.
Well, I think, you kind of really explained it right, Jeff, but it shows a lot of people would be quick to say the easy 500 direct deposited. They don't have to do anything. Just sit back and see the money. But it's people have lost. I see it every day in my work life that people have lost one taking pride in the work that they do, and what they do, but to put forth to learn responsibility, like you said with your daughter. She helps you out, you pay her money, or to have your nieces or nephews or whoever to help you roll, and you pay them so much money. And I mean, I just think there's life lessons to be learned in that, and you're still making the big bucks on top of it.
Right.
Absolutely. You're so right, Jeff, because like I think because he's spending time with his daughter and she's working with him and he pays her, that teaches her that out in the world, any work that a human being does has a value and they should be paid for their efforts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's beautiful.
But we got to take it one step further than that, so that we can bring that right back into oppression. And men don't know how to lead because men are currently in oppressive systems in the patriarchy, right? And men are upholding wages from all peoples, right? So we're not valuing effort, energy, and time into these jobs, right? And that's why people, I have no problem with people opting out of the workforce right now if the job that you offer me is $9 with no benefits. I'm not doing that. And so therefore, you're never going to get to a place of making decent money if this is all you have access to, right? And you can say that person should go get a better education or learn a trade or do things like, and you can say that all you want, but if that person doesn't have access to do those things, and even if they do, we still need the $9 an hour job. We still need the $8 an hour job. We still need these people to do these things. So we should value their work in that, right? Like the children that roll, we've taken 3 hours to roll the change. Sure, I give them 20 or 30 or $40, but why? When I'm making $5 grand, why can't they get 400? Why can't get
That's,
to 500? You
But
know?
oh, I
Obama,
agree with
isn't
that
that
there. Yeah.
isn't that a, like isn't it a state of mind that these people are in? Like it's not
Mhm.
that, and you are right. We do need certain people for specific jobs, and that's how the world operates. Not everyone can be this and that and that, you know? We need people at a certain status, certain level, so that the world goes around. But
Yeah.
the problem is a lot of people don't know the essence of life, and that's where the trouble comes from.
I think also what we're seeing a lot of is people demeaning those
Hmm.
jobs.
See, and
And
that's the problem. Thank you so much for touching on that. That's the thing. Like I was talking to my mom the other day and I was like, I I learn things from everybody. You can even learn from a homeless person, but people don't realize that it's just a state of mind. They might be so happy of where they're at currently, but
So,
oh, go ahead.
we just need to clock that mindset that you got right, or not clock. We need to call attention to it because saying something like you can even learn something from a homeless person. I ran a topic the other day that said words uphold oppressive systems, and
Hmm.
so saying it in that manner means that like you're not expecting to learn anything from a homeless person, but you can even learn something from an unhoused person. So that being the case, it's like you're devaluing that person because of their, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just upholding the system of oppression of like, I ain't gonna learn nothing from them. Oh, but I did, so cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we have to level the playing field of human rights for everyone. That includes people that are unfortunate enough to be unhoused. You know, that includes all of those people. So, and I'm not saying that because that's what this is. That's what like we have to deconstruct. Everyone that is oppressive,
Hmm.
that upholds an oppressive system. Just about everyone upholds that, and even if you don't uphold it to a large degree, just your words in themselves can be oppressive. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's why it's so important. Sorry, Chrissy, I'm almost done. Is it Christy?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So and that's why it's so important to not judge anybody, because when you do judge, you will go in that placement of judgment.
mhm.
And that's why we have to accept everyone for who they are. If we can help them, we can try. And if we can't, life will be their teacher. And yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think it also takes just this open discussion like this too, where we can critique one another. I was critiqued recently by a friend of mine for something that I said that she didn't agree with, and then I thought about it. I was like, actually, yeah, she's right. I shouldn't have said that. It's so it's having an open mind, um, and unhoused people, they are just seen a lot as like non. I feel like people see them as non-human almost, like they don't deserve the same amount of voting rights even, or that they don't deserve to even sit on a sidewalk and sleep there, just things like that. That's been awful. I've seen a lot of that rhetoric too. I was in San Francisco last week, and I love San Francisco. I love going there. I have a lot of friends that live in California, and but when I tell people in Georgia, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to California. I'm going to San Fran, to visit my friends." They're like, "Oh, what?" It's like you would think that I'm going to, you know, hell.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Right. Just why would you
They're like,
even
how?
choose that place? Why would you even go there?
Yeah,
You
they
know.
don't see that's honestly like really good. It's still a great city. I don't even know what they're referencing, to be quite honest. But I have seen, um in my travels, I have seen, people using substances in public view, things like that. But to me, maybe I just got used to it because I used to work in the cities a lot. But I didn't see that as, I didn't feel threatened by that. I didn't feel personally threatened by that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But over here, I think people that don't have that experience or are very close-minded, they think that threatens their physical safety.
Yeah, well, the system of oppression that is the United States, that is literally the Constitution, has to always have a other group to blame responsibility on, right? So you always have to have some type of social ladder of hierarchy within inside of that, right? And if you look back on like colonial days within inside the United States, it was Italian people were non-white, you know, Irish people were
Right.
non, you know, like all of this. But as the other people grew bigger, then the white supremacy group would include a group of people, so they would gain majority again. And it's just kind of teeter-tottered on that, right? And so if you relate it back to like 2024 today, what you're talking about with your Latino culture and population of peoples, like some of them are including themselves in white supremacy, and then some of them are excluding themselves from white supremacy. They see that's an oppressive system, right? And people that benefit from the system usually don't want to disassociate with the system, right? You know, like it would be much
Right.
easier for, instead of doing all the things I'm doing, it would be much easier for me to put on a red hat.
Right. And
It
this
would
is
be very easy to do that and move on, right? Because I would get, not only would I get all the things I get now, I would also assimilate myself with people that were closer towards the top.
exactly, you're assimilating yourself with the people that have traditionally and historically oppressed you. And then even in the Latin communities, there's so much, and I'm still learning about this. I'm learning a lot from my cousin who's a leftist Puerto Rican man, and he has really like dove deep into deconstructing from our colonial, like to really look into our history of colonialism and slavery and things like that. Because we saw so many of our own family go full MAGA, like full cult. And it just surprised us because a lot of these, and I'm very specifically calling out Latino men here. You know, these are men that taught me in Bible school. These are men that we used to go and serve our communities together and volunteer in shelters and things like that, and really try to be of service because that's what we were told we were called to do. And to see this huge shift, and I'm just having a hard time reconciling this movement with the people that raised me. But I think, yeah, it's like a proximity to whiteness. I mean, I'm very white passing. My brother's not, you know, it's hit or miss within our group, I think. And I feel like they try to identify as white. I really do. I feel like we have been so like trying to assimilate, trying to fit in. So maybe we're the new like Irish and Italians in modern day, where we're trying to be white.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's that assimilation, right? It's the closer that you can speak to English, the closer that you can get to Eurocentric features, you know, those types of things, right? And if you look at like even things like who sets the beauty standard and stuff like that within inside society, right? Like it wasn't okay to be curvy until white women decided that, right? So it wasn't okay to be dark until white women decided that, which is in turn white men decide that, right? Because they say that this is how they want their women. These are the women that they're going to include in their circles, you know. So that being the case, the woman is trying to assimilate herself proximity to the oppressor, the white man. So it kind of goes back and forth, right? You know, like BBLs weren't popular mainstream stuff until white women, and then it was okay to be curvy and stuff like that. Like, and I'm not body shaming. I'm just using those as an example of the closer you can get to that, you know, whatever Eurocentric, whatever beauty standard that Eurocentric featured people are saying is okay, you know,
or what they covet, what they're wanting, what they act like they want.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's some intersectionality in that, in infantilizing and stuff like that, you know, also. So I don't want to skip over that, but like, you know, the bigger picture of that, or the 30,000 foot level is that the white man is always setting that standard. And like you said, so the people inside your community are like, I'm going to align with that. and then I'll be closer to the included people, right? When
Right. And there's also a big division between Latino Americans that are here with citizenship status versus undocumented status, where it's like a competition, you know. So it's a lot of classism within our community too.
right, yeah, it's all of that. It's all of that. But I do. You're exactly right, Tim. That's 100%. You know, it's deemed in that. I cut myself tonight, like Johnny Cash. I cut myself today. But look, I've enjoyed this conversation. I think that I want to end this rascal because I know Serene's in the comments, and I'm going to the shop tomorrow. I keep not going to the shop. I'm going to the shop, mañana. So I'm not going to be on live tomorrow. But if anybody wants, Jeff and Christy, if y'all want to say any last closing remarks. But I do appreciate, first off, everyone that's come on the panel, everyone that's been up to this evening and had a conversation, and the comments, and allowing each time this happens, it helps me, and I'm hoping that it helps other people that are listening to this, even if you're not actively commenting or if you're actively on the panel using your voice. I'm hoping that it's falling on ears that like to hear it, you know. So
Yeah, thanks for opening this up. I just stumbled on this, so thank you for opening up a platform for this discussion. I think somebody asked me about religion and Latino culture, and yes, 100%. There's a lot of pro-life that I know personally. The women in my family believe the AB rhetoric that babies are being unalived throughout this country, and that it's used as birth control. They fall for that propaganda quite honestly, and so that's a huge thing too, for sure.
yeah,
And
so
patriarchy.
to go into that a little bit more, because I think the Catholicism with Latino, but of course Latin people aren't just the only ones that are Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and the Pope came out with the thing that said that birth control itself was not godlike because it was altering the body of people, kind of thing, and that's why Catholics they don't go along with the
Even the pill, yeah.
even the pill and stuff like that, right? Now the AB and core Christian value beliefs are rooted in some other stuff, right? Like it was basically propaganda that motivated a voting block of people because
Yes.
they lost the conservative vote basically with when desegregation happened.
Yes.
So they
There's a
were
lot of
like,
history.
yeah,
Yes.
let's get these people back motivated again. So let's give life to the embryo, basically.
Basically, yeah. That's how they were able to get them to vote back on that side, for sure. But
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
100%. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. I'm gonna drop you out.
I want to say thank you to Serene for inviting me up. Thank you, Jeff, for hosting this. Christy, she's gone, and the other lady that was at the top. Sometimes coming in as what might be called as the opposition, so to speak. People are not as open-minded, but everybody here was 100%. When I came in, the young man, I think it was HD or whatever, he was not doing the opposite side any favors, and I was just cringing. I wanted to scroll on because I didn't want to hear it, but I thought, oh my goodness. But I've been up on your lives twice, and you've treated me with nothing but respect, and I hope I do that in return back to you, because that's who I am. At the end of the day, I think we all bleed red, and none of us are getting out of this alive. So I want to wish the best for everybody, that everybody prospers and gets everything out of life that they want. And I don't care who they are, what color they are, what their lifestyle is. If there's anything I can ever do to help somebody out, that's what I want to do. And I want to be known as that person, not necessarily judged by a political party or so what have you.
Yeah. Well,
But thanks again, Jeff.
Hey, I appreciate you coming up. I appreciate it. And you're always welcome to come up and have a conversation. I'm gonna drop you out. Some of that is, and it took me a minute to understand this, is just not being the oppressor. Sometimes the best thing that you can do for someone is to not get in their way of their success, right? But what's up, Ken? You on the back up?
Yeah, I got beaten on my main because of soft ass men.
Look, were they whitey also?
Probably, I think so.
The
Y'all fucking,
fragility.
you guys are, the fragility is so fucking real. Y'all fucking snowflakes, and you match the color too.
You know what? You know what I should do? I should get a fragility crown.
Literally, absolutely. I'm gonna make you one, and I'm gonna put it in diamonds and everything. I'm gonna send it to your ass.
Yeah. So that's what I should do. I should get me a fragility crown for people. But yeah, I'm getting ready to end this, Rascal.
I was like, are you getting ready to end? Because you ain't got nobody up here. So okay, whatever, fine, I guess.
We had a little bit of opposition, but these last couple of nights, we've been having some productive conversations, I feel like, about accepting people's role in the oppression of people and trying to deconstruct that. So it's been very moving and understanding, like for my deconstruction, to make sure that I'm on the right path, hearing people put words and like some of the content and stuff, and it's just helped me out. So I've appreciated the last couple of nights, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. I like that. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll hop down. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay. So yeah. So I ended up falling asleep. And then the PT came, and then I ended up going back to my aunt's house. And then so literally, I don't know what time it is there, how late you stay up. But if you want to call me in a little bit, I'll be available. So I forgot about you.
Yeah. We'll get that done on the back end. Ain't no big deal. It's a quarter after 11 here.
Yeah. I'll be available tomorrow too. I'll be back at the hospital, so I'll be chilling. So if you want to call me.
Mama Ken doing good though?
Yeah, she's doing much better. We got her pain management under control. We got her up. Like she took 3 steps today, but that is
okay.
Yes, that is legit. Yeah, but it was rough last night. It was rough last night. I was moving her every 3 to 5 minutes, so I got no sleep. But I did get a nap in right now, so I woke up a little bit ago. So.
Oh, you're gonna be up on the TikTok streets.
Oh, I'm gonna be up on the TikTok streets all night tonight, y'all. So you're gonna see me out there. I might go live. We'll see.
Okay, all right. Well, if y'all want to see some tussling, y'all follow Not Ken on the backup, and this is my backup here. If y'all want to follow this. But,
all right. Good night, friends.
Appreciate it.